I just think that redemption is one of my other favorite words, that we can live in that pain. We can choose to be a victim or we can choose to be a victor, but you can't be both. And I just see all of those things as opportunities to be able to redeem something that was meant to hurt me, that was meant to keep me down, that was meant to mentally destroy me. And I just won't allow it.
Hello, dear listeners. It's that time again when we stroll through the paths of ambition, desire, and success. Welcome to the Dare to Declare podcast, where we explore the enchanting world of giant manifestors who've turned their visions and goals into the stuff of legends. I couldn't help but wonder, how do some people create the lives they've always dreamed of? Is it the magic of manifesting, the power of perseverance, or perhaps just a dash of serendipity? Well, dear friends, grab your coffee cups because we're about to spill the tea on fascinating journeys of those who dare to dream big and make it happen. Join me as we sip on success stories and ponder the ever-enticing question, can we all manifest our dreams into reality, or is it just an urban fairy tale? I'm your host, Debbi, and I'm here to guide you through the labyrinth of achievement with heart and soul. Ready to dare to declare? Let's get started.
Hello, dear listener. You are in for a treat today. So I just want to give you a little tip. You might want to go grab a Kleenex box. My guest today, Lainie Hartley, is a former foster child turned cycle breaker. She's a foster and adoptive mom and author of Simply Neglect, a raw and redemptive memoir of childhood trauma, survival, and God's unfailing grace. She was abandoned, neglected, and failed by the very systems meant to protect her. Lainie's journey is one of heartbreak turned healing. Today, she uses her voice to advocate for vulnerable children, break generational cycles, and remind others that no story is too broken for God to redeem. Whether on stage or behind the mic, Lainie brings truth, compassion, and unwavering hope to every conversation. And that certainly was today. So you're going to hear about her whimsical girlfriend adventures in the present to her truly horror-filled childhood, where she went to bed often starving, had to knock on neighbors' doors to look for food, and was surrendered by her mom 3 times into foster care, and then her teen years filled with shame, but how she was able, with the grace of God, to break that cycle and to this beautiful life. And there's a plot twist at the end that you're not going to want to miss. So enjoy, and I'll see you on the other side. Well, hello, Lainie. It is so lovely to connect with you again here for the podcast. And I'm excited to share you with the audience. And so we met in person a few months ago, and you were a speaker at a women's conference, a Christian women's conference. And I had been following you a little bit on social media, and then I had a booth and you came running over and you're like, hey, it's great to meet you. And I just didn't expect that. And I was like, oh, hi. And it took me a few minutes to connect who you were. And so, I'm just really excited for you to be here today. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Yes, I remember speaking at that event and I ran up to you. I had been following your work and I felt like we were friends and you didn't know who I was. I'm like, what do you mean? Oh my gosh. I'm like, I'm such a fan of you. So I'm very grateful that we were able to catch up and I got to give you a big hug and take a picture with you at the end. That was really lovely.
So true. And I mentioned to my assistant, who also is my daughter, I said, I don't think I've ever embraced someone like having like, oh, let's have a picture together. And I'm like hugging you like you're like my long lost friend and like family. And I'm like, was that creepy? Like that's what I said to my daughter. She's like, no, I just had such a connection.
I agree. I really felt that too. And I don't give people much of a choice. I'm like, you need to love me. You have to love me. Please be in my life and let's be friends forever. That's just who I am. So,
well, I'm so glad that you're in my life, lady. And let's start with something fun. Let's talk about this idea that you do girlfriend adventures. Uh,
Yes.
I love that you do that. So can you talk a bit about what is a girlfriend adventure? How did it come about? What has been your adventures so far, and maybe thinking about into the future?
Absolutely. So, my best friend Shay, who I love so dearly, we went to high school together. I'm still very young at heart, but that was many moons ago, high school. So, we kind of lost connection, having children. And I was in a really rough, hard time in my life. We lost connection there for a while. And about 6 years ago, I believe, she was out yard sailing and had happened to come by my house. And it was instant connection again. We were best friends through high school. And like I said, and we have just been glued to the hip ever since reconnecting. It's been really beautiful. So she has 2 kids and I have 3. And we do these things once a week where we just take off and we go somewhere. This week was llamas and an indoor pool. Today is her birthday. Happy birthday, Shay. And as soon as I'm done this call, we are going to go out for lunch together. Last week, we went to the mill in Cambridge, I believe, and it was so beautiful. And we just really love that, living a life of whimsy, just taking off. So many times, I don't even know where I'm going. She's like, I'm going to pick you up at this time. I've made plans, I've made reservations, and we're going to go. We have visited alpaca farms, we've gone on cruises, all with the kids, overnight stays, just wherever kind of the wind blows. We just want to be there. We just want to be together and really just want to create this life of whimsy for us and our children. It's one of my favorite words, whimsy. It's so fun. Um, so yeah, life is just an adventure. It's something that I look forward to every single week. And it's not lost on me the blessing of friendship and spending time with people who love and care about you.
It's beautiful. And you have a really beautiful curated Instagram. And so I noticed you post something this morning on your stories. I'm like, go follow this amazing, remarkable lady. So the ripple effect is, yeah, you're doing it for you. Yes, you're doing it for your friendship. Yes, you're doing it for your children. And I think your followers are also inspired by this idea of whimsy, wouldn't you say?
Yes. And that's what I really want to create. I don't want to be successful at things in life that don't hold meaning and purpose. I want to be successful at things that I love and that I feel like are making a difference in the world. For me, in my corner, it is foster care and it's reunifying families and it's keeping families together and it's also keeping children safe and advocating for the needs of children. Um, I really want to inspire people to forgive people who are really difficult to love and to find hope and healing. For me, it's been my faith, but to find hope and healing in this life, that our past does not have to predict our future. I just really, really love people. I love connection, and I really feel like that shows through my Instagram, through social media, through how I live my life and in my relationships and my friendships, in my marriage, all of it, right? In motherhood. Um, yeah, I really love people, and I hope that that is just portrayed through everything that I do.
Yes, for sure. And what I am in constant awe of is I read your book. And so for the listener, we'll drop the link for you to order your own copy. It's incredible. It's called Simply Neglect. And the contrast to the word pictures that you created in your book as you wrote about your childhood compared to the whimsy, the freedom, the love, all that you're experiencing now, you are the walking example of your past not designing and creating your future, and that you're able to do this. And so I think that's what's so remarkable to me, is that when I see your way of being, where you're visiting, I think about the little one. And I think this was a story where you found refuge under your front porch. Was that like kind of am I remembering that correctly?
You are absolutely remembering that right. And before I touch on that, it really doesn't make sense. The life that I came from and the life that I live now, statistically speaking, I'm not supposed to be living the life that I do. I'm not supposed to. Mike and I just celebrated 15 years of marriage. Statistically, I'm not supposed to be living the life that I do, that is just full of so much love and hope and healing and whimsy and joy, you know? But yes, and I actually have a copy of my book in front of me, and it's so funny that you brought that up because I have a little snippet I would love to read about
Please.
that porch box. Our cement porch has an enclosed storage space about 4 feet tall and 3 feet wide. The empty abandoned area is meant for storing garbage. Ironic, since I feel like garbage too. Mom doesn't clean and has no use for it, so I claim it for myself. I pretend it's my home, my place of safety, my dreaming box. Mom's abusers rest their elbows on it, and I can see their knees through the cracks from the inside. The deteriorating dark green wooden doors loosely hold black metal handles that rattle. It's a brilliant place to hide on the mornings when I refuse to go to school. I sit in there quietly, hugging my knees to my chest and chewing my hair as I always do. The sun sends its rays through the wooden cracks of the doors and across my face, connecting to the core of my being and warming my body with its embrace. I breathe better in its glow. I want the sun's rays to erase the dark shadows from my face so I can become fully radiant as I am in my dreams. Oh, my dreams, they are real to me even when I'm wide awake. Yeah.
Thank you. That just um living authentically online is something that you do so beautifully.
Thank you.
And so tell me about how important this is for you to live authentically and also to create this authentic community. Can you share a bit about that?
Yeah, I think living authentically is incredibly important. I think that in my life, I have put up walls everywhere. And I think that a lot of people who have lived through immense trauma, they do that. They feel like they have to prove their worth. They feel like they have to act a certain way. They have to be a chameleon in order to fit into certain groups, in order to fit in relationships, in life, and things like that. And I just find that there's so much freedom in breaking down those walls and just completely exposing yourself. The freedom that comes with that, where people see you authentically, it's just giving you the freedom to do that, but also giving them the choice to either accept you or to walk away. Because I just got so tired of holding on to people that didn't want to be there. I got tired of being in relationships where I had to be somebody that I wasn't. I was doing things that I didn't want to do. I was laughing at things that I didn't find funny. Um, for so much of my life, I hid behind humor. I just feel like it's a very beautiful thing to just live your life exposed and to just not care what other people believe and think about you. I just finished, well, I'm almost done the book, The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. And I really love that. And in living exposed, I can't control other people's thoughts about me. I can't control what they think about me, but I can control how I live. I can control the decisions that I make. I get to control who I love, um, and who I welcome into my life. So living authentically is very, very important to me. Actually, one of my rings that says authentic on it because I got it engraved with that word, which is funny that you say that too. we align on so much, but every day it's just a reminder to myself to be authentic and to live a life that is authentic.
We certainly do. And it took so much courage to write your book, to share the horrors. And I'm not being overly dramatic here, of your childhood. One story, and if you could share this piece with the listener too, that really hit my heart and made me cry, was your birthday. And it was a story where you were with the family. So in a way, it, like, as a reader, I thought, oh, she's finally escaped, the dirt, you know, all the mess, the urine, like all the things, not having enough food, all those things that was your early childhood. And now you're with this family who's supposed to be stable, who's, looking from the outside as Christian, conservative, and yet the trauma continued for you. And so would you share that piece, that story of, because I want the listener to understand the depth, like where you were and like where you are, and how incredibly vulnerable and authentic you're being in order to use your story to connect with others, and for them to, when you say, don't worry what others think, like your book in itself is such a expression of vulnerability.
Yes, I have definitely put my life out there with my book, and that was one of the most terrifying things that I did. When I saw the book was live, I was so scared. Talk about being authentic and vulnerable. Oh my gosh.
For sure.
Yeah. Um, but the book is doing so well, and I haven't had a single negative comment to me about it, or that I've heard of or anything like that. So it's doing really well. Chapter 13 is called It's My Party and I'll Cry If I Want to. And that day was so heartbreaking for me. My daughter is 12 and is going to be 13 in July. And I feel like as I live my life and as I mother my children, they hit all of these milestones that just punch you in the gut, punch you right in the heart of, reminding you of what you lived through. But I get to live in that redemption. I get to create a new life for my children. And to me, that is more important and more valuable than anything else. But when I was 13, so maybe just let me backtrack for a second. I lived with my mother, who was very unstable. She had several mental illnesses. And I witnessed a lot of abuse and deep, deep neglect from her. The men in her life, things that I witnessed, things that I saw, was very, very traumatic for me. Going to bed starving, being pulled off of her leg and given to people that I don't know, being in different foster homes. So you're right. When I was 8 years old, she didn't even tell me where I was going. She told me to go stand out in the parking lot, not knowing that she had made a phone call to one of her relatives to come and get me, someone I didn't know very well. And they pulled into the parking lot of this dingy, rundown place and looked down at me and my little sister. And she said, "You're leaving with them now. You're not staying with me anymore." And after already, she had surrendered me 3 times. And that was the third time that she had surrendered me. And the shock and the panic of, you gave me away again? You did this to me again? It was so, so traumatic. Fighting for my life to try to get out of that vehicle, unbuckling my seatbelt, digging my butt into their leg, I was very bony, so I was trying to like hurt them. I was trying to escape, trying to jump out of the car, doing whatever I could, flailing, screaming. Put into this home that after being there a long time and realizing that mom wasn't going to come back for me, just kind of knew that this was going to be my life for the next while. And I really wanted it to be better. I wanted it to be full of love and affection. And it really wasn't. It was so cold, and their consequences were so severe. So my 13th birthday, sorry that I'm taking so long, but my
No, you
13th,
speak all the time. Yeah.
okay, my 13th birthday, I was really excited because she was going to let me skip school. And that was an impossible thing. Like, there was no way I was ever allowed to do that. So it really just felt like today is just the best day ever. For your birthday, you got to pick your birthday meal. You got like a couple of gifts and you got a cake. Well, this birthday was so special because I was becoming a teenager and she had created this three-tiered cake that she was practicing for somebody's wedding. And it was beautiful. She did a really, really great job. And that was going to be my birthday cake. And we never had a cake like that. It was from a box, right? So this was very, very special. Um, and she had accused me of lying. And her consequence for lying was being in my room for the entire night with a piece of bread with peanut butter on it and a half a glass of water. And I just couldn't believe it. That day, she had driven me to go and visit my brother, who was still in foster care. I hadn't seen him for so long, and he had fallen out of the wagon. I was looking ahead. I was daydreaming like I always do, which is what connected us. Just visioning always. But he had fallen out and he had bumped his head. Well, she had to return him back to the Children's Aid Society with a bump on his head, and she was like livid, really, really upset. And in that voice of "What did you do?" I was like, I don't know. I don't know what happened." Right? And she had to return him back to foster care with a bump on his head, and I felt like I had ruined everything. Um, and she just looked at me and drove me, I think it was like an hour and a half away, drove me home. I sat in the back seat. I had to say bye to my brother that I hadn't seen in so long. I had no idea when I was going to see him again. I sat in the back seat just bawling my eyes out with my head leaning on his car seat. And she said, "You know the consequences for lying." This story still gets me. But we finally got home. We walked into the house and my siblings are like, "Happy birthday! Happy birthday! I can't believe you got to skip school." And I just walked right past them and I went to my room. And they were like, "What happened? What's going on?" And I wasn't allowed out of my room on my 13th birthday. And I think what makes it worse is that they continued the birthday party without me. They had the birthday dinner that I wanted. They sang happy birthday in this like slow, really mocking voice.
Oh,
They ate that birthday cake. They ate the birthday cake without me. And my other brother who was in foster care, he had come over and I didn't get to see him very often either. And I wasn't allowed out of my room to visit my brother. And they continued to have the bonfire. And I remember just standing by the little window. We lived in the tiniest little room. And I remember opening the window and just smelling the campfire smoke and just crying and just dreaming again because that was my escape. My escape was just envisioning a different life. It was dreaming of what I wanted my future to be like. And it definitely didn't include that. So my daughter's 13th birthday is going to be something really special. I am not a very good like party planner, so I need some ideas, but it's going to be a very beautiful thing. And I just think that redemption is one of my other favorite words, that we can live in that pain. We can choose to be a victim or we can choose to be a victor, but you can't be both. And I just see all of those things as opportunities to be able to redeem something that was meant to hurt me, that was meant to keep me down, that was meant to mentally destroy me. And I just won't allow it.
yeah. Lainey, that story gets me every time too. And thank you for sharing. I don't know that I remembered that it was about your little brother, which again compounds it. I mean, the guilt, the
Yeah.
shame, and then the loss again. Like, so the title of your book is simply Neglect. And I know that's not, that was thoughtfully done. Can you tell a bit tell the listener and myself, I'm curious, what supported you to create that title for your book?
So as I was writing my book, I was reading through my foster care file. I wanted everything to be um, true and real and authentic. And I wanted to pull everything from my siblings' experiences, from my experience, and from this massive, thick foster care file that I had. So simply neglect is a line that I took from my foster care file. The whole quote is, the CCAS states the case is still open to him. The CCAS has been involved for 12 years off and on for neglect concerns. They are at the point where they are ready to close the case. No abuse, simply neglect. But it is a resistant family and there is not enough concern to apprehend. And those two words, they don't belong side by side. There's nothing simple about being neglected. And it was this phrase that just ate me alive. And where I realized the simply neglect was from the system who was meant to protect me. There was nothing simple about being neglected. And so I wanted this title to really stick out. I wanted people to read the title and be like, what? I want to understand that. I want to learn more about that because it just doesn't make sense. And I really wanted to show the failings of our foster care system and just inspire people to help change what it is. So that's the reason why the book is called Simply Neglect. I had so many titles for the book, you know. Um, but that's the one that I landed on. And I hope it was the right choice.
I think so. It definitely got my attention, and because it disrupts your thoughts. Like, what?
Yes.
Because they don't feel like they should be side by side. So it does spark curiosity, and then reflection to say,
Mm.
really, like, how can that be true? Neglect is neglect. There's no simply about it, right? So, uh, okay, let's shift gears, because I have, you and I had some conversations before, and I had in my notes, and I wanted to just ask you about this list that you kept in your Bible,
Hmm.
to celebrate recovery. Can you talk a bit about that?
Yes. So I ended up going at 19 years old. I went to a Celebrate Recovery program through the church, and really, it completely shifted my life in the very best of ways. And I was really tired of dating men who had the same trauma that I did, who hadn't worked through what they needed to work through, who were abusive, alcoholics, um, very mean and volatile people. It's that cycle of, control and love, and then the honeymoon phase and doing all of that. I was in this cycle that I really, really wanted to break. And I realized that through Celebrate Recovery. And I decided that I did not want to live the life of my mother. I did not want to be, um, I didn't want to live the life of my mother. I will just say that. And I was starting to see similarities in the relationships that I was choosing. And I didn't want that anymore. And so I sat down with my Bible and I prayed and I prayed and I prayed for my future husband, the man that I was going to fall in love with and be married to and have his children and everything. And every day when I opened up my Bible, I looked at that list and it was all of the qualities that I wanted. And it's so funny because when I did meet Mike, it was just check, 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 check. And I wanted this list to grow past, he has to have a job. He has to have a driver's license, like the bare minimum. And then moving way beyond that, this list really grew. What do I want him to look like? Um, what do I want to be attracted to? What would I love for him to do for work? Um, and then even more important than that, I want him to love Jesus. I want him to come from a family that is still together. Um, a family that can just really take me in, um, and love me as their own as well. So I don't have the list in front of me right now, but that beautiful list of just laying things out step by step by step and just praying over that. Um, I'm thinking of the Bible verse, Proverbs 23:7. It says, as a man thinks with his heart, so is he. And I think that what we meditate on shapes the direction of our lives, you know? And yeah, just really meditating on that list and just praying over that list. And literally, I was renting a room in the middle of nowhere, literally, like cows and horses, fields upon fields. And he lived right down the road,
Wow.
which is just so crazy because the people that I was renting from were best friends with his parents and had hosted this night together, um, for Christmas, December 6th, 2006. So 19 years ago, almost. Um, yeah. And it was just so beautiful, to meet him, to fall in love and all of that stuff. And then to go back to that list and be like, oh God, you know, you see me, you see my needs, you see my desires, you see everything that I want. And, I just felt so seen and so loved by God, by Mike, by his family, taking me in and loving me as their own. Really beautiful. Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It really speaks to the work that I do with people is to help them get clear. So you intuitively knew to write this list, to get really clear, to say, just like the let them theory, like, this is what I no longer tolerate. I don't tolerate men to treat me badly. And I don't want to repeat this cycle of, my mom. I'm ready to, and then to let them, but then let me, which is, this is who I want. And so we're just in our church, our pastor is going through the book of James. And so in James 1, I think it's, anyways, I'm not going to quote the verse, but it says all good gifts come from God. And so we know about how to activate the law of attraction. We know how to we get clear and put out that energetic energy, and we know who controls all of that. Right. And so that's where I love that you prayed over your list. And and your recent post of your 15 year celebration was so beautiful and inspiring. All the cozy things so I also want to just talk about one more thing here that really blew my mind. And I don't know that read this in the book, but I definitely started to see this on your social media, is that you talk about redemption. You talk about forgiveness, and you did something that no one else that I know personally has demonstrated that kind of forgiveness. You forgave your mother, and you didn't just do it in words. You invited her actually into your home. You invited her to be in a relationship with your children. And now I understand you've also set her up for her independent living. And that's just that's superhuman. Like, God's working through you. Like, there's no way a regular human would be able to find that kind of strength and grace and forgiveness within ourselves. And I know that you give all the glory to God for that. But I have to tell you, that was the plot twist that I didn't see coming. And so can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. That still makes me emotional. Yes, she did come and live with us for a year. One of her workers called me and said, your mother is going to be homeless this winter if nobody takes her in. She has 9 children. And I just thought, surely it's not going to be me.
Hmm.
And we had a group chat going, and everybody processes their trauma differently. Everybody's lives are full and different, and none of them were able to do that. With the space in their home, with the families that they have, with what they're going through, whatever it is, they were not allowed, or sorry, not allowed. They weren't able um, to take mom in. And we have this beautiful place that is bigger than what we need, surrounded by farmland, kind of in the sticks as well. And I just thought at first, like, just the transition of going like, no way, that's not going to be me, to the work that God did through my heart in deciding to say yes. Um, and I have to give a shout out to my husband, because he was such a rock during that time. And he said, it's the right thing to do, Melinda. She needs to come here. He was like, well, what about this? How are we going to make space? How are we going to renovate that in that amount of time? Like, um, what about my mental health? All of those things, it was a very, very scary thing, to say yes to. And I wouldn't have been able to do it, obviously, without God changing my heart, and without my husband, loving her as well and accepting her. It was a very, very hard year. There were many times where I locked myself in my own room and I just lost it emotionally. Like, I had so much to work through, things that I didn't even realize that I had to work through, things that just haunted me, memories that came back. I would I would see her in the living room laughing with my children. And I don't remember a single time doing that with her as a child.
Mm.
And when my daughter was really upset and she was crying, she went to my mom for a hug, and my mom was holding her
Wow.
and rubbing her back with the saddest look on her face, like her heart was breaking too.
Mm.
I just thought, like, I can live in anger that I never had that. And I can be so bitter that that wasn't my story. But I can also look at the redemption of that and just say, thank you, God,
Yeah.
for saving my mom. Thank you for changing my heart. Thank you that we get to rewrite stories that were meant to hurt us. And yeah, I really, really fought to find her a very good and beautiful place. We went to go and see some really, really run down, terrible places. The mental health crisis and the mental health system and housing and everything, it is in need of such upheaval and repair. And I really at one point thought, oh my gosh, my mother's going to live with me forever, because there's no way that I would ever leave her in any of these places. And so I kept saying, no, Mom, I'm not going to leave you here. Mom, please don't worry. I'm not going to let this be your story. I'm not going to leave you here. Um, until we found one place that is in a beautiful neighborhood. It was a private room in a group home close to downtown where she can go out walking. She has her money, divided up, so she gets like a weekly allowance. It's all figured out for her. She has supports and systems in place. She lives in a place, where there's 3 meals a day posted on the chalkboard, plus all of the meals, and it's 24/7 support. Um, she just had her birthday, in September, and a staff came in early to make her favorite meal of lasagna. And they baked her a birthday cake, and all the residents of the house sang happy birthday to her. I'm just really, really grateful, really thankful that we waited. I'm thankful that I was a part of her story and that she's thriving, and, she's doing well. Again, that wasn't meant to be her story. I could have lived in anger and bitterness and left her on the streets, left her rotting in that, terrible home that she was in Stratford. But she lived with my sister for 13 years. And my sister Rachel, I can't even, she fought for moms in ways that I never could, and really got the ball rolling with all of mom's support. And so mom came to my house with supports already in place with a mental health team, and people that took care of her finances and all of that stuff. So, um, yeah, that was an incredibly hard year for me. It was a really, really hard thing to say yes to mom moving in. But I'm very, very grateful for the experience and the closeness that we were able to have during that time, and the new light that I was able to see in her. It was just really great. She's thriving and she sends me messages all day long, every day. Um, and I just think that it's really important. You can love people with boundaries. It isn't you forgave mom, what a miracle. It's like there are things that are still so tender, things that still really hurt me, experiences um that I'll grieve forever, you know? Um, but the boundaries are just so incredibly important. We can love people and we can also, we can let them and we can let me. We can say, I want to welcome you into my life, but here are things that I need to do to protect my mental health and to protect, um, my heart and my mind.
For sure. And it's not lost on me, this irony of, I don't know if you caught it, but like you took her from home to home and said, I won't leave you here. And
Mm,
yet
wow.
you were surrendered 3 times, right? Um, and the fact that the worker made a birthday cake for your mom. And so
Wow.
the spirit of redemption here is just, I got goosebumps. And,
Yeah.
you know, all of this God's using in his kingdom and your message and your incredibly powerful, vulnerable, authentic community and message, I know is going to change lives. We haven't even touched on your work for advocacy of the foster system. I mean, you talked about mental health. I just know you're a force to be reckoned with. And God's got so much more that he's going to use you for in his kingdom, as you continue to spread your message of redemption and love, and you're living proof of it. And I'm so glad, Lainie, that you have come into my life. And so for those of you who are listening, and Lainie's in Ontario, Canada, but I know she speaks, I don't know if she's speaking internationally yet, but she is an accomplished speaker. You're going to want to have her come and speak to your group. And what are other ways that people can work with you, Lainie?
Yeah, absolutely. I speak at conferences. I do podcasts. I just share my heart with basically in my story with whoever wants to hear it. So they can go to my website, they can check out my social media. If they have basically in spaces of trauma, it doesn't necessarily have to be foster care, but just of overcoming and things like that. I love being with women. I love being a part of community and in healing circles. So I love being invited to those. Yeah, I'm speaking across Canada and across the US, and I'm just really, really excited for all that God has in store for me. And I'm just very grateful for people like you know, who welcome me.
Well, I'm going to let you go on your next adventure and be, what was the word that you used? Starts with
Whimsy.
an S. Oh no, with a
Oh,
W, whimsy. Be musical
yeah.
today and enjoy this beautiful fall weather that we're experiencing here. And is there any last words that you want to leave with the listener?
Um, your past explains you, but it does not define you.
Mm.
I think that I think I would like to lead people with that. And, don't strive for perfection and choose hope over despair. Those are my final words, I think.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And yeah, go to her website, go buy her book. And if you are part of a group, reach out to her through her website. We'll drop all of that in the show notes for you to book. I'm sure she's booking up to 2026 and beyond. So you're going to want to have her share with your group as well. So, and for those of you who tune in every week, you know I leave you with this message every week in that I want you to dare to declare. Today, we've delved into the realm of manifesting giants, exploring the power of declaring our desires to the universe with unapologetic boldness. But before we bid adieu, I have a little something special to share with all of you dreamers out there. Introducing the Dare to Declare Vision Board magazine and online DIY Vision Board course, your ticket to manifesting greatness in style. Picture this. Flipping through pages filled with inspiring images, empowering quotes, and step-by-step guides to help you create the vision board of your dreams. Whether you're yearning for that spacious condo with a view, or a love that sets your soul on fire, our magazine is here to guide you every step of the way. Dive deep into the art of manifesting with our exclusive online DIY vision board course. Led by manifesting expert, yes, yours truly, and seasoned dreamers. This course will teach you the ins and outs of creating a vision board that speaks to your heart and soul. So what are you waiting for? Join the ranks of the manifesting giants and dare to declare your wildest dreams to the universe. Head over to our website, debbisluice.com, and grab your copy of the Dare to Declare Vision Board magazine and enroll in our online DIY Vision Board course today. Until next time, keep dreaming big and daring to declare, because in the world of manifesting, the sky's the limit.